Hello guys, welcome back. This is the fifth lecture of our web development using ChatGPT and Rails. And in the last lecture, we discussed about the Rails model and we do some prompting to get the information about what are the model in Rails, what is active record based library, and how to create a model. And we get all the information from the ChatGPT and we generated a employee model with some attributes. Okay, so in that model, I mean in that employee model, we added some attributes like date of birth and date of hiring. Okay, and in the last of the lecture I told you that in this lecture we will generate an instance method to calculate the age of the employee based upon his date of birth. Okay, but before generating the date of birth we need to create some employee records. Okay, so we will ask to the chat gpt that how we can create a record in rails. Okay, so first we need to prompt a question like how to work with create query or how to use create command in rails. Okay, so what we can do here, how to use create command in rails. Okay, and when you submit this prompt you will see that the chat gpt will answer you that what create why create command is used and how to use this create command. Okay, so you can see that it is showing you the model setup, migration. Okay, and it is showing you to the controller action. Okay, so let it be generate the entire response. Okay, so you can see that it is still generating the response. Okay, however what we showed here that we just mentioned that how to use create command in rails. Okay, so if you want to create the create action within your controller, then this information is fine and you can go through the response, but this is not we wanted. We want to create command using terminal. Okay, so what we can do, that we can ask that I want to use create query in terminal. How can I do that? Okay, and when you submit this prompt you will see a new response generated by the chat gpt, and here you can see that it is showing you that how you can do that. So here you can see that let first finish this response generation. So here you can see that it has generated like first it explained that how you need to follow the steps. So first you need to open the rails console or rails c, and then in the fourth step you can see once the console is running, you can run the create command like that. Okay, so user dot create. Okay, and so on. And this is the user with user dot save command. Okay, and difference between user dot create and user dot new, and it is showing you the create bulk of users within a single command. Okay, so now we need to create our employee model. Okay, so what we can do, let's see how it help us. So open the migration file that we got generated when we created the employee model. Okay, so now what we will ask to chat gpt that we will submit this migration as a prompt. Okay, and then we will ask ChatGPT to provide a create command for the employee. Okay, so let's see. Go to the browser, and here what we can do. Uh, Here is my migration file. Now, can you help me to create an employee in the terminal with these attributes, with sample values? Okay, and when you submit this prompt you will see that chat gpt will read your migration and it will show you the step that how you can create your employee records. Okay, so here you can see that it is showing like that. Okay, so here you can see that it has created date of birth, date of hiring, first name, last name, email, contact number, and so on. Okay, so now what you need to do, that you just need to open the rails console. Okay, so first come to the terminal. Okay, open the new tab. Okay, and here what you need to do, rails console or rails c, and then just copy and paste this file, this create query. Okay, so what you can do, just copy this and then paste it here, and when you submit this you will see that a new employee has been created into the database, and now you can see this via employee. and you can see that this is showing you the employee. However, this is showing the id as nil. That means there is definitely some uh, violation of the validation. So what we can do, employee dot errors dot full messages. Okay, and here you can see that contact number should be 10 digits. Okay, so now what we can do, that we can send this error to the chat gpt, and we can prompt here like that, I am getting this validation error after running the create query. Can you please fix this? And when you submit this, you will see that the chat gpt will generate a response and fix your problem. Okay, so here you can see that it has just showing you the contact number validation, but we don't need to mind that. Instead, what we can do, we can just simply copy this create query again. Okay, so just copy this create query from here, copy this create query and paste it into the console now. Okay, and when you paste it, you will see that a new employee has been created. And now if you visit the employee, you will see that the employee has been successfully saved into the database because it has the 10 digit contact number and it is not failing. Okay, and here just look at that, the employee has been saved. Now what we need to do, that you can see that it has the value of date of birth. Okay, and in general what we can do to calculate the age, we just need a date of birth value. Okay, and based upon that date of birth we can calculate the age. Okay, so what we can say here, that date of birth is a derived attribute. Okay, and derived attribute is a concept of database that you must need to know. And what it basically means, that when you can derive a value from other attribute, okay, then it is, then the other attribute is called as the derived attribute. And in that case you don't have to manage two attributes in the database or manage two database columns. Okay, so let's first understand about the derived attributes on the chat gpt itself. Okay, so here we can prompt, can you please explain the derived attributes in the database. So now chat gpt will explain you. Okay, and it will give you the detailed response about that. So once the response will get end, you can just go through that and you can understand that. Okay, okay, and now what we can do, that we can just ask chat gpt to calculate the age of the employee based upon its date of birth. Okay, so we need to prompt here properly, and we need to tell chat gpt that what we want from that date of birth attribute. Okay, so what we can do here, I have a date of birth attribute in my model in rails. Now I want to calculate the age of this employee, sorry, age of an employee using its date of birth, and do this within an instance method. How can I do this? Okay, or can you please do this for me? So when you submit that, you will see that it is showing you that you can calculate the age of an employee using the date of birth and so on. Okay, so here you can see that it has created a method age. Okay, so here you can see that it has created a method age, and now it is just checking whether the date of birth is present or not. Okay, so if it is not chat gpt, and suppose we are not using chat gpt and we are creating our own method to calculate the age of employee. So first So first, what we should be checking, that we should be checking that whether the date of birth is present or not. Okay, so if we want to calculate the age, date of birth must be present. So what it is checking here, you can see if date of birth is present. Okay, if if this condition is true, then it falls, then it fall into this if block, and then it will check the current date as date of today, and then it will calculate the age of the employee. Okay, and then it will return the age. Okay, and now we can use this method in our employee model. So just go copy this method, sorry, just copy this method completely and go to the employee model in your application and paste it here. Okay, so now you can keep this age method here, and you can just place a comment here that gpt methods. Okay, so we can keep track like we created this method from the chat gpt. Okay, and if you wish, you can remove the comments, or if you wish, you can keep this. Okay, so just remove that comment, because these are the unnecessary comment, because by looking at the code you can easily find that this is the age method. Okay, and what that comment is doing. Okay, so just save this and now go to the console. Okay, and reload it, and if you get the employee.age. Okay, so it is error. So first let's restart the console. Okay, restart the console, and what you can do, employee equal to employee dot last. Okay, and then employee dot age, and when you submit this you will see that it is the age of 34. Okay, and here you can see what it is showing, that the age date of birth is 1st January 1990, and today is the 24th January 2024. That means the age of the employee is 34 years. Okay, so what we did, that we just prompt on the chat gpt that how I can create a method or an instance method to calculate the age of the employee, and you can see that it has given you the method. Okay, now if you wish, you can further ask chat gpt to explain this method. So let's ask on the chat gpt. So what we can do here, we can ask chat gpt that can you please define what this age method doing. Okay, so if you ask this chat gpt, then you will see that it is explaining you all the things, like here is an explanation of each part. So here you can see that what every line of the statement is doing. Okay, so in that case, if you do this kind of prompt, you and you go through the response of your prompt, you will easily understand that what every line of this method is doing. Okay, so this is the detailed response here. So I'm not going to line by line of the response, you can do this at your own. Okay, now if we wish, we can ask chat gpt to further refactor this. Okay, if it is possible. However, what I think that it can be further refactored like this: return nil unless date of birth is present. Okay, and then we can simply get rid of this if block. We can do like that. So now we don't need this if else block. Okay, so this is the refactor version as of my. Okay, so let's ask chat gpt, can you give me more refactored version of this age method. If you ask this, then ChatGPT will tell you certainly. So here you can see that it has did the same thing. Okay, so now we did not have any if block. Okay, however, you can see that it has further created a private method that birthday has occurred, current date, and if it is checking it there. Now if you want this additional method, you can keep that as well. Okay, that will work as the same. And if you want to keep the version of the code that I have maintained here for the age, to calculate the age of an employee, you can do that as well. Okay, so the moral of the lecture is that how we can ask and how we can prompt on chat gpt to get the result based upon our needs. So here you can see that I have a clear idea that what I want from the chat gpt. I just want to calculate the age of an employee. So I have all the requirements, like I have the employee model, I have the date of birth attribute in the employee model, okay, and I can calculate the age of an employee based upon that date of birth, okay, and Chat GPT has did that, okay. So you can follow the same step at your own, okay, and you can further do multiple things like whatever you want from the Chat GPT and based upon your requirements, okay, and it will do. You just need to prompt correctly and exactly whatever you want, and ChatGPT will do that. Okay, so I hope you liked it, and we will meet into the next lecture. So thanks for watching this, and till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.